Right, welcome back. We're discussing matters, the business sector and how it has really felt the pinch when it comes to these demonstrations, which are in the third week this particular week. And I'm discussing this with Tony Kisaka and Edwin Kagwe on set right now. There's something that Tony had mentioned about insurance, and I want Edwin to also pick on the same. Is it the fact that right now, even as you also give us your analysis of the insurance penetration in the country among MSMEs, is it the fact that most of these businesses do not know that they can insure their businesses when it comes to such a time, some political instability as well as terrorism?
Yeah, if you look at the informal sector, that one is where the penetration is very low. And for them, most of them, because of the thin profit margin, they will not be able, they'll look at it as a cost. Mm-hmm. So they will not be able to say that I'm going to insure my business. Yeah. And you'll need to look at it from, if it's the formal sector, it's very easy. Those, they have mechanism and they have budgeted. They have said that we are going to have an amount which will set aside for the insurance. Mm-hmm. And they know that out of, maybe we have insured half an M, for instance, you can be able to get not the whole amount. After this assessment, most likely will get less than that. But the guys in the informal sectors, those ones, they don't know about insurance. Mm-hmm. And for them, they will not be able to, they will not be able to entertain any extra cost, even for an askari. Because if you look at the market, like the one we're talking about in Kisii, most of them will find they have one askari, the whole market or two. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, so for them, even that one, I'm sure it's very hard to pay because of the thin profit margin. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Tony, just to pick from where he's mentioning, having an assessor, having the insurer bringing on board an assessor just to take a look at the kind of damage. So I want you to crunch the numbers for us. Hypothetically, you have, let's say, Nyaringita supermarket. And as Nyaringita supermarket, I'm assessing solely, and I'm seeing I have lost about 500 million cash shillings. So how does this insurer come and do the whole assessment, and how much do I know that I am covered?
Well, when you look at it from an insurance perspective, every business is different. So what matters most is going to be the assessment when you're taking out the insurance policy, right? Because that is what's going to determine the level of risk. It's going to determine once they look at it, they're going to be able to determine the level of risk, confirm whether they can actually be able to insure it, and then based on how big the business is or how much stock you have, then they will be able to come and say, this is the premium you're supposed to pay. For instance, let's say, for instance, now for me, when I look at it, and I'll just relate this to now maybe home insurance. Home insurance for a business, a home that is got, you're insuring close to about, maybe about 800,000 bob, you'll be paying about 15,000 shillings for a year. Now, if you look at it and say, okay, this is maybe up to $1 million shillings, and I'm paying about 15,000 or let's say 12,000 per year for that particular insurance policy. So the premium is 12,000. That means it's 1,000 shillings per year. We need to, number one, we need to get insurance companies to get to the place where they can allow you to be able to pay it in bits, mm-hmm. so that it's not the whole 12,000. Because I know for the small trader, and that's what Kagwe is saying, that for the small trader, it's going to be very difficult to get a whole 12,000 shillings. But then once you're able to pay that, you can imagine, yes, it's 12,000 in a year, but then if something happens and maybe your house burns down, or let's say, for instance, your business burns down, and you're able to get, even if it's maybe 500, 600,000 shillings, you're not starting from zero. But then without that insurance policy, you're going to be starting from zero. And for many people, that is going to be a nightmare. And it's not just for the small traders as well, because I'm looking at it. Last week, we've been planning for a conference since February. And it was supposed to have been last week, 26th to 28th. Now, unfortunately, because of what was happening, we were expecting more than 300 medics to be able to register, to pay in, and they had confirmed that yes, we will be coming for this thing. But at the last minute, because of what was happening, most of them did not pay. We only had about 10 people who paid. Now you can imagine we've already paid for international speakers. We've done all these things. We've paid for the hotel and everything. So we already ran at a loss. And unfortunately for us, I'm talking about insurance, but we had not insured that particular conference. So you can imagine when, you're expecting to make money out of a conference, but now we're having to dig into our own pockets to pay for the services that we got, to pay for the air tickets for the speakers who came in, because some of them are just, they got here by the time this was happening. So at the end of the day, we are actually maybe having to either borrow or dig into our pockets to do that. Now, if we had taken insurance for this particular conference, chances are that we will have been sitting pretty. So this is also a learning point, even for me as well, as I'm talking about it.
Right. And Edwin, before we listen to what residents of Laikipia say, some of these events come, let's say, annually, for example. They are not events that will probably happen every single month. Some of these political kind of tensions. I'm saying the last time we even had a similar was last year around this time, around July, when you had the Zimio administrations, which really started from around March all the way, went for quite a number of months. For business person, because I mean, as he says, probably the rate of, let's say, 12,000 a year. And a business person would be wondering, mbona naeka hii pesa yote, and then at the end of the month, at the end of the year, there's nothing that is happening. So what should a business person probably think when it comes to getting some of this political instability kind of package?
Yeah, I think it's a learning point now, and I'm sure it's for the formal sector. It's very easy because they can be able, if you look at their record keeping, if you look at how they do business, it's more organized. So they can be able to plan and say, this is it. And many insurance companies in Kenya, they have actually had such a product of political instability. But if you look at now the informal sector, those. That team will not learn that much because even the state of the record keeping, it's pretty low. So even if I'm looking at the insurance company to assess whatever they are saying that they have, it will take some time and it's a cost of doing business. So ideally they will go to more formal sector, and because there are quite a number of things which the opportunity cost for this protest, it's quite high. And that's why I was saying even before, if you look at it's the whole infrastructure, not only the building that we are looking at. Like my colleague here said that they have lost business. So if you add that and many others, you see it's a lot of money that has been lost.
Right, right. Just Kachuri on WhatsApp is asking, kindly help them, kindly tell them to tell us about the political insurance. I'm really interested. I'm a business person. Holland, Joyce will be telling you more about that, and they'll be also helping you understand. Right now, I want us gentlemen to listen to what Laikipia traders are saying, and Laikipia business people are saying concerning this, the kind of pinch they're saying, specifically in Nyahururu. Let's listen in.
Names are Jerry Wambugu from Laikipia County. Hii mambo ya protesting and demonstration imefika mahali kumeingia goons. Na hawa goons wanatuharibia. Take for instance, I'm a farmer. Sasa vitu zangu nikileta kwa soko hazina wanunuaji. Kwa sababu watu wote wamepotea town. Na market yetu ni hapa Nyahururu. So, na at least nataka kuongea na serikali watafute mbinu at least hii mambo ya demonstration ishe. Just talk to the GZ. Ukiongea nao tutatafuta suluhisho. Si ati hatuna suluhisho. We have it within ourselves. Kama hii mambo ya kujiongeza mishahara hata inaongeza kidonda kwa already bloated financial constraints in the country. So, I would beg our dear president, afikirie mambo ya ushuru na hii budget, aitupilie mbali, aiunde afresh. Hii mambo ya demonstration itaisha within no time. Kari tengeneze a conducive environment, ndio hata vijana wakirudi kwa shamba hata kuwa na time ya kukuja kwa barabara kuprotest.
Wewe kama mkulima
I don't have insurance cover. Kitu ile natoka kwa shamba ndio unakuja nauza. So when there's demonstration in the town, hakuna market ya kuuza vitu zangu. So
right, and before we continue on this particular conversation, I want us to take a short breather. Pia mimi kunywe maji kidogo, and then we'll be right back. Keep talking to us on our socials. We're asking you, as a business person, how do you ensure that your business premises are safe? What are you doing to ensure that your business premises are safe? Talk to us. 0793 267 279 is our WhatsApp number. Don't go too far.